The Disrupt Education vlog can be found on YouTube. To hear it in podcast form, search Disrupt Education on any of the following podcast platforms: Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Castbox, Overcast, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Spotify, or Stitcher. Welcome to this episode of Disrupt Education. I have a wonderful, just privilege to have a guest of this guy. He's a tailor. He's a custom suits and shirt maker. He's a lifestyle influencer, social media coach, brand ambassador. There's so many things. But first off, Jacob, Clayton, JC, Scott, I'm going to throw all your names out there, but thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for inviting me, man. I appreciate it. Looking forward to it, for sure.
Well, let's go into who you are then, right? So let's dive into what you do, because you have so many titles, but you are making a difference on so many different levels. Man, where do you want to start with who you are?
I wanna add some value here, even in the introduction. So my name is Jacob Clayton, also known as JC Scott, and there are only three things that I do. There are only three things. So first and foremost, I am a tailor and custom clothier. So I sell custom suits, custom shirts, vests, jackets, trousers, even custom shoes, right? So I'm one of the top tailors and clothiers in Dallas, Texas. That is my passion. That's what I love to do. You'll always see me dressed this way. I wear suits 7 days a week. This is what I feel I was born to do. This is my passion. This is my purpose. Second, I am a speaker. I started my public speaking career when I was at Northern Illinois University back in 2015, and I've spoken on everything from Dress for Success to entrepreneurship, branding, and social media marketing. So I love to speak, and because of COVID, I've been doing a lot of virtual presentations, which is absolutely insane because I never thought I would get paid to speak virtually, but that's the times, right?
Yeah.
So nothing we can do about that. And the third thing, I started my own social media marketing company back in 2017. Social media marketing has been huge for me. And it's been really big because it's something that everyone needs. I don't care what you do. I don't care who you are, how long you've been in business, how much money you make. Everyone needs to be on social media because that's where the majority of the attention is right now. Mm-hmm. So whether you choose Facebook, whether you choose LinkedIn, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, Pinterest, there are a ton of ways that you can not just brand yourself, but build a legitimate business and monetize your content. And so that has been huge for me. So if you ask me what I do, those are the three things, right? Suits, speaking, social media, the three S's.
There you go.
It. And I wanted to provide some value real quick to say I haven't always been this way. So if any high school student or college student is listening to this podcast right now, it's okay not to know what you want to do at that age. People expect you to choose a major or declare a career at the age of 18 or 19. And at that age, you don't even know who you are, right? You're pretty much just going through the motions trying to figure things out. And so back when I was in college, I graduated from Northern Illinois University. I kid you not, Peter, did 10 different things. I did graphic design. I did web design. I was the president of 3 student organizations. I spoke, I styled, I worked a full-time job, I worked an internship, I did videography. I can legitimately count. I probably need more than 2 hands, the number of things that I did. And I was so proud of it, right? I consider myself to be a jack of all trades, mm-hmm. right? I'm talented, I'm ambitious, I'm creative, I'm a hustler. But the more knowledge I gained, I realized how being a jack of all trades was actually a detriment and not an advantage. Mm-hmm. because I spread myself too thin. So if you just choose to focus on one thing, right? Let's just say I chose to focus on suits. Suits is going to get 100% of my time and attention, right? But as soon as I pick up speaking, now I have to divide that time, 50-50. Or if suits are more important, maybe give this 75. And if speaking is less important, give that 25. Then when you add the social media marketing, I do 3 things. Now I have to split my time and attention in thirds.
Yeah.
Or maybe this will get 60%, this will get 20, and this will get 20, right? But the more things that you continue to add, the more time and attention is divided. And even though you may be great at all of these things, I'll say you may be good at all of these things, you aren't great at any of these things. Right. You haven't, taken the time to solidify a level of expertise in this specific field. So, doing 10 different things is not always a good thing. Like, I agree that everyone should have multiple sources of income, but, that doesn't always look like working multiple jobs and doing multiple things, right? It could come in the form of investments or affiliate marketing. But, I would really just say, like, if you find one of, like, your listeners to be one of those people, tell them to focus on the things that give them the most return on investment.
Right.
That's how I chose the 3 things I do now. Focus on the things that are, like, if I put all of my time and energy into, are going to give me the most return on investment. That's how I chose speaking, suits, and social media. And then everything else you outsource, right? So that's a little bit about what I do now.
So, and I love the 3 S's. I think there's all these different things within there that is fantastic. So let's go back into then your educational path, right? Kind of where you grew up, what kind of K through 12. You mentioned NIU, and the reason actually where I connected with other people who knew you, and also you just had just a week ago or so a great IGTV about experience versus education, and that's what caught my eye. Take us through that path of, okay, so you started to become a jack of all trades through all of that, and then, that focus came in. But walk us through your educational path, both traditional and non-traditional.
Okay, for sure. Well, first and foremost, although I graduated from Northern Illinois University, I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana. So I was born and raised in the South. I lived in Shreveport, Louisiana until Hurricane Katrina. So I moved in January of 2006 after Hurricane Katrina had hit. My father had lost his job, and they offered to relocate him to either Georgia or Illinois, and he chose Illinois. So we picked up the entire family and moved to Illinois when I was in 8th grade, right? And so all I've ever known is, Louisiana, and now I've been completely uprooted and, forced to move somewhere I've never been before. So when I got to Illinois, we moved to Plainfield. I went to high school at Plainfield North. Plainfield North High School is where I went to high school. And it was when I moved to Illinois that I really developed a passion for sport, right? I love to train. I love to compete, but I had never played a competitive team sport before. And I'm going somewhere with this. It's gonna make sense. I'm gonna tie it all in. Just follow me.
No, we're here. We're here.
Right. So sports was all I knew, right?
Yeah.
So I was a 3-sport athlete in high school. I played football, I competed in weightlifting, and I ran track and field.
Wow.
Right? I was 4 years on state, a track and field athlete. I only ran track to get faster for football. I only competed in weightlifting to get better for track. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was one of those rotations.
Hey, we're Bears fans up here. Willie Galt, man, that just goes back to this tracks. That guy was fast, so I get that.
Right. And so I played one sport to develop in another sport, and I played this sport to develop in another sport. But I spent my entire high school career playing sports. Now, at this time, right, I was very passionate about fashion. I have loved fashion from a very early age. And it wasn't instilled in me, right? My dad is a manager at a packaging facility. My mom is a dialysis technician. They're not into fashion or style. But as long as I can remember, man, I have always loved fashion. I can remember, even when I couldn't afford the nicest things, man, I just wanted to make sure that my combinations were nice. I wanted to make sure that my clothes were pressed, that my clothes were clean, that they were ironed, that my polo complemented my shoes, right? I always wanted to be different. So if everybody else was going left, I was going so far right that I made my own lane.
Nice.
And, even though I sell suits now, I haven't sold suits always, so fashion back then may have been like graphic tees. Or it may have been, sweater vest and bow ties, or wearing dress shoes to school, or, if everybody is worried about Nikes and Jordans, I'm worried about the complete opposite, right? And I brand myself that way. I was always, my entire life, known for being different and standing outside the box.
Nice.
But, circle back around now. I had no idea, because of where I grew up, that you could make fashion an actual career. I had no clue. I had never been exposed to that in my life. So anybody listening to this podcast right now, understand that exposure expands expectations. You don't know what you don't know because you've never been exposed to it. You've never seen somebody in real estate. You've never seen somebody in the stock market. You've never seen a college graduate. You've never seen a high school graduate. You've never seen an entrepreneur. And so you just don't know. And nobody can blame you for that because you've never been exposed to it. So, growing up where I was, I had no idea that you could make fashion a career. I wasn't surrounded by any entrepreneurs, any influencers, anybody in social media marketing. I wasn't surrounded by any clothiers. I wasn't surrounded by any tailors, any designers, any buyers. I didn't know that there were fashion schools. I had no idea there were fashion majors, right?
Right.
No clue. And so when it came to, graduating high school and going to college, I chose to get my degree in kinesiology. So my degree right now is in kinesiology. I have an emphasis in exercise. I have an emphasis in exercise science. And a minor in coaching and nutrition. Now, I already told you the three things I do. I have never, one day in my life, used my degree. Never. When I got to college, I met my mentor. This was my junior year of college. And I went to a conference, and there was a Dress for Success presentation. And, I have a passion for fashion, so I go to the Dress for Success presentation, and this guy walks in, and he's dressed immaculately, and I was almost starstruck. And he introduced himself. My name is Dr. Alex Ellis. I am a celebrity stylist and a custom clothier. I was like, wait, what? Because I had already started my business styling when I was in college. And I was styling college students for free at that time. I said, you trying to tell me that you actually get paid to do what I've been doing for free? I didn't even know that was an actual job for the first time in my life. I kid you not. I saw myself in someone else.
Wow.
I said, you know what? That's what I want to do. And I never looked back since that day. I said, I'm going to graduate. I'm going to get this degree. But when I graduate, I'm going to get a job in this industry. I'm going to get a job in not what my degree is in, but where my purpose lies. Right? And so many college students share that same story and that same testimony. I can't tell you how many people graduate with a degree that they never use and end up in some, random industry that fell in their lap.
Right.
Right. And I just so happen to be one of those people, and I'm, $45,000 in debt because of it. that was a pretty expensive piece of paper, man.
Right.
To not use. But, my message in that is, if there's something that you want to do in life, get a job in that industry, get a job in that field. Mm-hmm. I talk a lot of trash about, the traditional job market, but I'm not anti-jobs. Like, I love jobs. Jobs make the world go round. And I'm so thankful for, jobs in general, but especially essential jobs. But if you're passionate about something, and if you feel like your purpose lies in something, then you should pursue a job in that industry or that market. Right. It doesn't make sense for you to want to sell suits, but you're serve at Olive Garden. It doesn't make sense for you to want to be in real estate, but you work at Amazon warehouse. Mm-hmm. Like, get a job that is directly aligned with the vision that you have for your life and your future, right? Because if all you're doing is clocking in to collect a check, you're wasting your time. Right. Like, that, in my opinion, is a dead end job, right? And so I knew I wanted to start my own business selling suits, right? But had no idea how to get started. So when I graduated from Northern Illinois University, I got a job at the Fox Valley Mall in Naperville, Illinois, at a suit shop, right? And they taught me how to take measurements. They taught me a little bit about fabric. And when that store closed, I went to Brooks Brothers at the Aurora Outlet Mall. And I worked there for 1.5 years. And then I went to Men's Warehouse. And then I went to Suit Supply. These were all stepping stones that led me into starting my own business, right? And so your job should not just benefit you in the form of a check. Like, if your job is not teaching you something that you can use to build a brand and build a business outside of work, then that, in my opinion, is a dead-end job, for sure.
So when we go in, like, I want to dissect a little bit of, why did you pick kinesiology? Was it because your mom was in the dialysis kind of realm? Yeah. I mean, did you see that and you're like, okay, I just better do this? Yeah. Well, what was the reason that you picked that major?
That was literally it. Oh, like, you have to understand that, like, my mom is 61, right? My mom was born in 1959. So you got to understand that it was a different time back then. Yeah. Right, she grew up in the civil rights era. Like, segregation had just ended, and it at that point was go to school, get good grades, get a degree, get a good job, get a 401k, retire at 67. Right, like, that was it was almost a joke in the 60s if you were an entrepreneur or a business owner. Like, people looked at you crazy, like, oh, he doesn't have a real job, right? It's almost trendy now. It's almost popular. It's sexy to be an entrepreneur. I don't know why, because it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Right. But it's very trendy to be a business owner, right? Be an entrepreneur, and it's just different times, right? So like, let me use this as an example. Facebook was founded in 2004, 2005. Instagram was found in October of 2011, so let's say 2012, right? So social media hasn't always been around. Right. LinkedIn has not always been around. Facebook has not always been around. Instagram has not always been around. Snapchat, YouTube have not always been around, right? So if you talk about building a business back in the day, it didn't look the same way it does now. It was all, direct mail and newspaper ads, because that's where the attention was. Radio ads, television ads. But social media has completely changed the way we do everything. It's changed the way we date. It's changed the way we network. It's changed the way we build business. It's literally allowed us to, at the tip of our fingers, do absolutely anything. Like, there is no longer an excuse for not, having a brand, for not having a business, for not having ownership, for not investing, because everything you need to know is at the tip of your fingers. And that's something that did not exist 35 years ago. Right? we still remember the .com era. That wasn't long ago. It was not in the grand scheme of things. Like
right.
that .com era was huge. It was massive. And it's something that the world had never seen before. And we can look back on recent years, man, when the first iPhone was released, what we're talking on now. Look at the iPhone 1 compared to the iPhone 10, the iPhone 11, the iPhone 12 that's about to release. Man, like, the world continues to change, and the world continues to evolve. And as it does, so must we.
Right.
So the same way you build a business in 2020 is not the same way you built a business in 1990 or 1980 or 1970. Man, the game has changed. And so, most of us choose majors because it's what our parents tell us to do. It's what our parents want us to do. And, because my mom was in that field, and because my mom told me I would make a lot of money, and because my mom told me I would always have a job, I chose that as my major, even though it was something I didn't want to do. Right?
Yeah. It's interesting.
Our parents have a ton of influence on us.
Oh yeah, and I believe like teachers as well. I mean, there's 4 generations of teachers in public education right now, right? So if you see those generations, I'm so glad you brought that generational kind of changes up. And there are folks who are still teaching as those generations, and then also teaching. Okay, yeah, you should go and get a job and straight into college, and they don't really understand this. So. And what's interesting is the journey of social media. I'm 47. I saw the .com bust. I saw everything go through. I'm huge in social media. I was lucky enough that I picked video production, so I'm using it like crazy now. I love it. But social media, networking, all these experiences are not in our education system now. For the most part, there are some spots that it's evolving. So I want to get to that question, like in your education or seeing what you see, let's go like even 6th grade to 12th grade, or you want to name them grades, or post-college, or what kind of changes do you see in education that are a huge need? Maybe 1 or 2 things that you would go deep on in education to change right now. We have so much going on. I mean, social justice, there's his story, there's all these different things that come in. COVID changes the way we actually do education. So what do you think?
Traditional education to me is a joke. I don't think that you learn the things you need to know that will benefit you in life. And again, like, education is not a joke. Like, everybody needs education.
Right.
But traditional education, in the sense that everything I've ever learned has been through mentorship and after-school programs. Right? Which is why I love the fact that you're taking these business programs from school to school. I would have loved to have been exposed to something like that when I was in high school. Before I got to college, because I felt like I would be so much further along. But again, exposure expands expectations. You didn't have anybody come to us and talk about business. We didn't have any after-school programs to talk to us about business and entrepreneurship. Like, those are things that you're taught after school, but those aren't things that you're taught in any curriculum. Like, we have got to add that stuff to the curriculum. I kid you not. I have never used anything I learned in college. Never. Man, I took Greek mythology. I took yoga. I took bowling, right? What other just BS classes do you have to take? Like, you have gen ed classes that you have to take. Right. And these are the most random classes. They're dumb. And you have to take them. Like, why am I taking child psychology? Like, I don't care about this at all. I'm never going to use this in my life. Nothing I learned when I was in college has benefited me in adulthood. Because guess what I'm worried about now? My credit, business plans, investing, real estate, entrepreneurship. I didn't learn any of that. And I feel like those are things that everybody needs to know. Yeah. Right? Like, why aren't those things being taught in curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm never gonna use this biomechanics class. Like, they literally give you just a list of random classes to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know anything about people, we're always going to choose the path of least resistance.
Yep.
So we choose all of these super random classes that are going to give us an easy A, right? And we don't actually retain any of the information because we don't find interest in it.
Mm-hmm. And we're
right?
paying. And we're paying.
And yeah, they're just easy A's, right? We spend 2 years taking easy A's, and then we spend 2 years taking classes that are in our major or in our career. But like, I think those are things that need to be added to curriculums, like real life skills, right? Because these are things that you need to know when you do graduate and you start managing your own money. You start paying bills. Like, college is almost like a safety net. And once you graduate, man, that safety net is pulled from underneath you, and then you're in the real world. Like, when you're in the real world, you wish you were back in college. The same way when you're in college, you wished you were back in high school because it was so much easier. The same way when you were in high school, you wished you were back in middle school because it was so much easier, right? It just continues to get harder, but they're not preparing us for it, right?
Right.
And that's absolutely insane to me. And the only way you can get these soft skills, the only way you can get this information is by joining after-school programs and organizations. I never learned like resume when I was in, my traditional education. I didn't learn anything about resumes. It was only because I went to my career service department. And how many students do that?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to career services. Like, it's like, career services, right? I didn't learn anything about soft skills.
Yeah. Right?
When it comes to interviews, a proper handshake, what you need to take. I didn't learn proper dress. I didn't learn dining etiquette. Like, these are legit skills that you need.
Yeah. Right?
And you're not going to learn them unless you're in an after-school program or an organization. Why aren't those things being included in traditional education? Right? They teach us about the most random things that we don't care about and we don't retain, but they don't teach us the necessary skills that we need to have ownership and build wealth, right? So that's what I would include in traditional education. And, I think that, because you mentioned COVID, I think that everybody right now realizes that even if you do have a really good job, it's very important to have multiple streams of income. This is why people preach that. Like, I don't care if you have the best job in the world and you make 6 figures, 7 figures, whatever, that can be taken from you just like that. And I'm not preaching that everybody needs to be an entrepreneur, but everybody has to have ownership in something. And that may be the stock market, that may be real estate, that may be other investments, other business opportunities, but everybody has to have ownership in something. Even as a full-time entrepreneur like myself, I have to have multiple streams of income. I've got money in the stock market. I've got money in real estate, because guess what? If suits are not making money, I'm making money here. If speaking is not making money, I'm making money here. If my social media marketing is not making money, I'm making money here, right? So, like, usually when one aspect of your business is up, another aspect of your business is going to be down. So if I'm not doing a lot of this, then I'm doing a ton of this. If I'm not doing this, then I'm doing a lot, right? So it's that, but again, that's why you need to have multiple, right? And I think COVID taught us that I don't care who you are, what you do, what your race or ethnicity is, how much money you make, it can be taken from you,
right?
So it's tough, man.
When we look at a school, like, one of the things is a very common thing that I hear, and I love I wish I had a picture of you with the gentleman who was talking about, I'm a fashion person. Because I bet, like, you just lit up, and you see this a lot with students, and you have to have empathy. But there's also a connection, right? And me
For
as a
sure.
teacher, I'm just a business teacher. I don't say just a business teacher, but I'm a business teacher. I don't know like fashion like you do. I don't know like technology like somebody else does. However, how do we get more students in front of mentors? How does that happen? What does that look like for you? Because this was, I mean, we know when they go outside the classroom. Does it look like? Can we do that inside the classroom? I know I do it to a point. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a very tough question, man. Let's unpack that.
yeah,
And I would really love to hear your perspective on this.
hmm
I take mentorship very serious. Number one,
yes,
very serious. It only takes one relationship to change your life.
hmm
It takes one relationship. When I started mentoring at Northern Illinois University, I joined an organization called Black Male Initiative.
hmm
And Black Male Initiative was a professional development and academic retention organization for African American men.
hmm
And its focus was mentorship, right? So I started doing a lot of community service in the city of Chicago,
hmm
a ton of community service in the city of Chicago. And again, I'm not from Chicago,
hmm
right? And you hear things about Chicago, but most of those things that you hear are true. Let's just be completely honest.
hmm
So, Chicago is the most beautiful city I've ever seen. When you talk about downtown, when you talk about the north side, but when you get outside of that bubble and you start to, work on the west side and the east side and the south side, man, there are a ton of underdeserved communities, and there are a ton of kids that are joining gangs because it's all they know and it's all they've been exposed to. There is a ton of violence. And at one point, I was going into these schools and I'm speaking to students or whatever, but, I was like, am I doing enough? Like, is this really working?
hmm
Right? Because if I know anything about, African American students, like, we're going to do whatever it takes to survive, right? We're going to do whatever it takes to survive. And I remember going to the school in Chicago. It was an alternative school.
hmm
I remember going to the school, and I'm sitting in the principal's office, and this is before I speak. So they had booked me to come in and do mock interviews.
hmm
So the kids were supposed to tell me what their dream job was, and I was supposed to interview them for their dream job,
hmm
right? Kid you not. 98% of the class said that they wanted to be rappers or athletes. 98% of the class. One guy said that he wanted to be a designer. One guy said that he wanted to be a doctor, and another guy said that he wanted to be in robotics, right?
hmm
But the other 98% of the students told me that they wanted to be rappers or athletes.
hmm
Why do you want to be a rapper? Why do you want to be an athlete?
That's the question.
Because they make a lot of money.
hmm
And it's all they've been exposed to. They're listening to rap music when they wake up. They're listening to rap music on the way to school. They're listening to rap music when they're with their friends. They're listening to rap music on the way home. They're listening to rap music when they're at home. I asked them who their, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I asked them, like, who do you look up to? Right? Just like, at your age, like, who are your role models? And you're not going to know the people I'm about to name, but they were naming people like Chief Keef, who was known for drugs and violence. They're naming people like Lil Durk, Lil Reese, King Louie. I mean, these people talk about nothing but drugs. They talk about nothing but abuse. They talk about nothing but trauma, mistreating women, not going to school, being on the streets. Like, these are who the kids look up to.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't blame them, because I, Jacob Clayton, graduate from Northern Illinois University with a 3.8 GPA and was the president of 3 student organizations, I can't do anything for them. Because I can go to that school, right? And I can speak to those students for an hour, and I can hoo-hoo, rah-rah, you can do it too, whatever.
Yeah.
But guess what? At the end of the day, that child has to go back to that single parent household. That child has to go back to that gang. That child has to go back to that abusive relationship. That child has to go back to the grandmother's house. That child has to go back to a trauma and neglect. Like, and there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
So, like, am I really making a change? Right? But, you know, even if I speak to 100 students and I just affect one, I think I did my part. You know, you can't save everybody, but, you know, if you can affect that one child and that one child affects two people and those two people affect two people and those two people affect two people, like, you got to take care of home first. Right? You know, I don't think I'm going to change the world, but I know for a fact I can change a lot of people around me. And all I can do is hope that those people are going to go find people and change their lives. But when it comes to mentorship, man, mentorship is tricky. Like, mentorship is not something people are like, oh my God, I love, you know, the relationship that you have with your mentor. Like, how can I find a mentor? And it doesn't work that way. You know, it's not like, oh, you put in the application and then, you know, you get paired with somebody and now y'all are just magically mentor mentee.
Right.
Like, it's a relationship that's developed over time. And not only do you see yourself as someone, but they also see themselves in you. Right. He saw himself in me when he was this age. Right. And so it's almost like a God connection. You know, mentorship will change your life, but it's not something that you see. They say when a student is ready, the teacher appears. Right. And so some people want to be mentored, but they're not even in a position themselves to be mentored. Right. They're not coachable. They don't want to listen. Right. They think they know everything. Like, you're not even in a position to be mentored. So first of all, you have to be humble enough to be in a position to be mentored. And then this person is not just going to find you, but you're going to find them. I think the only thing I can equate it to is like love at first sight. Yeah. Like, you legit just see somebody and you know, right? I didn't join some Boys and Girls Club and be paired with somebody. I didn't put in the application online. I wasn't introduced to anybody. Like, you legitimately meet somebody and you just know. Yeah. You feel it. It's different. It's something that you've never felt before. And so you just wait. You wait patiently. You continue to learn. You continue to put yourself in a position to be mentored, right? But you put yourself in the right places. You know, it's like, yo, where are you spending your time, right? Yeah. As a college student, as a high school student, like, where are you spending your time? Like, are you spending your time perfecting your craft? Are you spending your time going to networking events? Are you spending your time going to conferences? Or are you just spending your time hanging out with friends? Are you just spending your time smoking weed and, you know, drinking alcohol? Are you just spending your time skipping class? Like, how are you spending your time, and what places are you spending your time is super important, because you got to be in the right place at the right time to even meet the person that you need. Right?
That's so powerful. And you know, it's interesting is many students, I always ask students, I'm like, what makes the greatest educator? Number one is care, and number two, you know, a couple of, you know, some of my previous students that I've mentored, now I'm actually learning from them, and I think that's what needs to happen more as well, because I'm a different generation now, you know, and I can kind of learn what's happening and different things, and this podcast came out of that, which is excellent. We met through actually a previous student of mine I'm now like watching him on Instagram, and then another interview, she was like, yeah, you got to get this guy. I'm like, okay. The mentoring program, what students will tell me is just keep opening doors, and it sounds like, from what I'm hearing you say, is entrepreneurship and being a mentor are very similar in the fact that you have to do a couple of things where you, how do I put this? You have to actually become a person who is going to go slow and find those small wins, and don't let everything overcome you. Is that what I'm hearing here? There seems like a parallel there.
Yes. And it takes time. You know, and my mentor is 49. So what we also need to understand is that your mentor does not have to look like you, right? They don't have to be the same race. They don't have to be the same ethnicity. They don't have to be the same age, right? And the same way your mentor teaches you, the mentor also learns from the mentee. And I'm so glad that you said that, because that was my next point. I've taught my mentor so much, right, over the last 5 years. And he's taught me so much over the last 5 years because, like you said, it's a different generation.
Yeah.
And there are so many, it's a like when you want somebody to mentor you, you do not approach them with the handout.
Right.
Right. And that's so freaking important. Like, people don't understand that. People are always like, let me pick your brain, or what can you do for me? And it's like, nah, man, like, what can I do for you? So when I approached my mentor, it was in service. Y'all, you have got to be of service to people, right? Especially people of influence, because they probably get approached, 1,000 times a year. So how are you going to stand out? So it's not just give, right? What can I offer? What can I offer? So when I approached my mentor, I said, how can I help you build your brand and build your business? I changed the perspective completely.
Yeah.
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm working on publishing my second book. Can you find some quotes for me? Boom, send it to him the next day. I'm about to be a vendor at an event. Can you find some pocket square and tie combinations? Boom, send it to him the next day.
Yeah.
I'm working on my social media and YouTube channel. Like, can you help me with my social media, my YouTube, my LinkedIn? Boom, got that done, right? But it wasn't, what can you do for me? It was, what can I do for you? How can I be of service to you? You got to flip the script, right? Because these people are busy. They're already overwhelmed. And if you can help them and benefit them in some way, shape, or form, and take something off their plate, they're going to help you in exchange. Right. And so mentor-mentee relationships are mutually beneficial. Mutually beneficial. If not, you're a leech. Right? They won't want to speak to you if every conversation they have with you is draining. Right? You should be contributing to them just as much as they're contributing to you. And my whole point is that they don't have to look like you or be the same age. They do not. You can even have a mentor that's younger than you. They get older.
I have them now.
Like, I can learn a lot from an 18-year-old that's like fluent in TikTok or Snapchat. Like, that stuff I don't understand at all. So people born after 2005, like, they're a lot more astute in some things, and I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Right?
Yep. That's why I have kids, right? I have a 15-year-old son and a 13, 12-year-old daughter. I'm like, help me out here. My son actually built my computer.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
And so as you climb, you must also pull. Right? So it's one of these things. So I believe everybody should have a mentor, but I believe everybody should also have a mentee.
Yeah.
Right? It's lift as you climb. Lift as you climb. You shouldn't just have somebody, pulling you up and you're not pulling anybody else up behind you. Like, that's the entire purpose. Like, success without a successor is not success at all. Right? Success has got to have a successor. So if you just die with the information that you have and you haven't done your, due diligence, giving it to anybody else, then, what did you really accomplish?
So in education, what I'm also hearing then in one of those skill sets is becoming malleable, being somebody who can be mentored or coached. How do we
gotta be water.
Yeah.
Gotta be water.
How do you do that? How do you think we do that in, like, education? What's your thoughts there? I like hard questions.
No, that's real. I don't know how I learned to be so fluid, man.
I learned it on the athletic field, to be honest. My dad was a coach, so that's where I kind of learned.
I think that's where I learned it too, because you kind of learn how to play your role. Right. I was like when I was in sports, like, I wasn't the superstar. Like, I'm not the guy in the newspaper. I'm not the guy being interviewed after games. Like, I'm a role player. Coach, where do you need me? I think this is where I learned it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, I played a lot of scout team.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would help the team get ready for the next week. So, I'm pretty much like a tackling dummy. Let's just call it that. Like, yo, do you need me in this spot? Do you need me in this spot? How many times do you need me to run this play until we get, like, yo, just give me something to do.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I just want to help.
Mm-hmm. Right?
In any capacity. Like, even if I'm not going to play in the game, I want to go as hard as I can at practice.
Mm-hmm.
That is a huge lesson, right?
Yes.
It's not always about the final product. Sometimes it's about the process, right? And you learn even in the journey. So, I think I just carried that throughout my life, but it taught me just how to be fluid and play my role. Mm-hmm. So I call myself, so with my mentor, like we've grown past the mentor-mentee relationship.
Right.
I now call myself his liquid assistant. Nice. Which means this. I just do whatever he tells me to do. Whatever he tells me to do, I do it. So if he tells me to research something, I look it up. Right. If he tells me to make a couple calls for him, I look it up. If he tells me to respond to his email, I look it up. If he needs me to find some people on Fiverr, I do it. If he needs me to remind him of it, I do. Whatever he tells me to do, I do it. I have no role, no responsibility. Like my job description is just do whatever he tells you to do. I'm liquid, right? And people have got to learn to be liquid. Yeah. They've got to be coachable. They've got to be teachable, or you won't be successful, right? And it's not to say that things will be that way always, right? That person will start to see so much benefit in you that they won't imagine, that they can't imagine not having you around, right? And so you've got to be that much of a resource for people. Yeah. But as far as education is concerned, man, you hit it right on the head earlier. We need more teachers that care. We need more teachers that give a damn. Teachers. Oh my gosh, and I still don't understand this, but teaching is one of the most important professions in America, and they're so grossly underpaid for the work that they do. Like, you guys are literally shaping the future. You're shaping the students that are going to shape the future, right? That is so important. So the fact that, these people are making more money and these people are making more money and don't play, nearly as a significant role in society, is just mind-boggling to me. Right. And, there are some teachers out there that simply go through the motions, man, and they don't care. They're there to collect a check. Yeah. I'm going to clock in, I'm going to clock out, and when I clock out, I'm not going to think about it anymore. I'm not going to go above and beyond because, if these students don't care, then I don't care. And that's a poor attitude to have, man. It's like, even if they don't care, I still have to do my part because there are students that do care. Right. And I just want to reach them and impact them. Again, my goal is not to get everybody in class, but if I got a class of 26 and, 6 students sign up, hey, that was a win for me. Yeah. We just need more teachers that care, man. Yeah. And it's tougher too when you're in a poor school system. There are a lot of CPS schools, man, where they can't even afford textbooks. You know what I'm saying? You can't even take the textbooks home. Right. They don't have computers and laptops. It's just CPS. There are so many other communities that, aren't even on the map where these kids do not have the resources and the funding that they need to learn effectively and efficiently. And, because of that, the teachers don't care. Right. They lose hope. Right. We lose hope sometimes as people. And that's the worst thing to lose because after that, you just stop caring. Right. Right. Because you don't see a change. And that change may not come in your lifetime. Yeah. But that's what leaving a legacy is. Leaving a legacy is planting a seed and never seeing the plant grow. But not everybody is willing to accept that, man. They're man, I want to. It's almost like you want to have your cake and eat it too. Well, so the results, expectations coming quickly, and that's kind of the way the system is built. All right, we need a number, we need this, and we need that. Yeah. It's taken a humanistic approach out of it. I think it's coming back in. I think we're realizing this. I do have hope.
Everything you said about like mentoring and being coachable and being teachable and actually networking, the best teachers and the best educators, the best administrators, the superintendents that I know do that as well, which is so powerful and so true. And I love that fact that the reason when I lose hope, I actually have these conversations, and they're
Yeah.
wonderful. So,
Yep. And it inspires you a little bit more.
absolutely, absolutely. So, well, we're coming up on about an hour here. Want to give you a chance to
Oh yeah.
tell people, where can people find you? How can people connect with JC Scott here?
Um, I think the best place to connect with me is on Instagram.
Hmm.
So follow me on Instagram. The handle is _JC Scott. The letter J, the letter C, SCOTT.
Hmm.
And I said that because all of my information is there.
Yeah.
You can contact me through text.
Hmm.
You can book appointment. You can direct message me. But Instagram is the platform that I spend the most time on. Let me say this too. Ooh, I'm glad I thought about this. When you're networking with people, always ask them what is their best method of communication.
Mm-hmm.
Always, that is a very important question to ask. Like, what do you check most often?
Mm-hmm.
Some people may respond better to text. Some people may respond better to email. Some people may respond better to direct message. Some people may spend more time on LinkedIn than they do Twitter. Some people may spend more time on Instagram than they do Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to know where people spend the majority of their time.
Right.
Take the path of least resistance. Find out where it's easiest to reach people. Because you can take a business card that has information on it, but which one of these methods is going to be the most effective when you network?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a huge key. That's something that I learned years ago. And it's a great question to ask. So, ask what's the best way for people to find you? It's a really good question.
Excellent. Want to thank you again for sharing so much knowledge. There's so much information. We could go on for years on this.
I knew we were going to go over a half hour.
I know. But I love it. It goes so deep. As a matter of fact, going deep into something that you love rather than wide across the board. That's one of my big takeaways. Mentors, being malleable, being coachable, reaching out, finding something you're interested in, and then going for it. Man, Jacob, Clayton, JC Scott, sorry. Thank you so much, man, for being on Disrupt Education.
Thank you, man. We might have to do a part 2.
Oh, absolutely.
What to say?
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, listeners, so much for listening to Disrupt Education. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll talk to you soon.